Hello and welcome to the last chapter of Judgment in Managerial Decision Making by Bazerman and Moore. This is going to be Chapter 12, Improving Decision Making. Now just to let you know, Chapter 12 is a recap and practical application of the things that you've learned thus far about biases and decision making throughout the book. So now you're moving from the micro to the macro, seeing the overview of how these decisions are applied and why they are. Now, moving to the introduction notes, we learn the most about how we accomplish our goals by not observing successes, but by the account of our failures. For my own personal philosophy, it's either we win or we learn. The only time we lose is when we quit or fail to try. Now I want to encourage you to read the strategies as they're outlined in the book. Chapter 12 is integral to the course learning, and it covers everything that we have seen thus far. It puts the learning into practice, and it will allow you as the student to better understand the concepts that have been displayed in the course. Now, after this week, we're moving on to the Cotter text about icebergs melting. And I want to tell you that the core information of this course was clustered within the first 4 weeks. And while Cotter's book does have a good message, the value of the course is contained within the Bazerman and Moore text. And that is something that if you're going to pursue your graduate studies in leadership, you probably want to refer back to it because it's case study rich, and moreover that it has great references for a student that wants to complete a thesis. So this is one of those books that you may not want to sell back, is what I'm telling you. Moving on to the information contained within Chapter 12, we go and take a look at Strategy 1. And this is using decision analysis tools. A field of study that specializes in giving prescriptive decisions is called decision analysis. Decision analysis is guided by the logic of expected value. When we speak of expected value, we multiply the value by its probability. And we've covered this in previous chapters, but the strategy given in the book and the scenario provides a rich application of the information within the text. Strategy 2 is to acquire expertise. It shows us about judgment biases, judgment distortion, forecasting. And by 3 methods we may learn wisdom. Love this quote from this actual section of the book. First, reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is the easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest. And this is by Confucius. Strategy 3 is about debiasing your judgment. And this is a procedure for reducing or eliminating biases from cognitive strategies of the decision maker, making wiser judgments, offering warnings about the possibility of a bias, describing the direction of a bias, providing feedback, and offering extended feedback, coaching, and monitoring. Strategy 4 is to reason analogically, the process of abstracting common lessons from 2 or more situations. It is a simple debiasing approach. Negotiators learn to compare several different value-creating strategies. Analogical reasoning can be applied to improve an individual and their decision-making. We want to take an outsider's view with Strategy 5. The outside view is more capable of generalizing across situations and identifying similarities. It's all about gaining perspective. And it is very difficult to appreciate a painting with your nose on it. One must stand back away from it to be able to see what all the colors combine to make what image. And the same is true for the outsider's view in decision making. Understanding biases in others. Decisions are made by persons who are not perfect. Decisions are influenced to some degree by a shared set of biases. Recognize the existence and direction of a wide range of biases across a wide range of decisions and make adjustments. Strategy 6 tells us to understand the biases in others. We select comparison groups, assess the distribution of the comparison group, incorporate intuitive estimation, assess the predicted results of the decision, and adjust the intuitive estimate. These 5 steps provide clearly delineated process for debiasing and individuals' intuition by adjusting for the regression to the mean bias. And all this says is that we should vet every one of our decisions against these bias eliminators. If you go through this 5 steps and it becomes cyclical and we take it back to the front, we understand whereas we may be introducing a bias, moreover, in what we're trying to accomplish. So moreover, it becomes that system 1 thinking to where, hey, I've encountered this before. I know how to solve this. And I've done it by employing the 5 steps that are delineated here. Strategy 7, we nudge wiser and more ethical decisions. This is all about subtle influence. It's a nudge, not a shove. Judging the capabilities rather than the stereotypes of others ensures that we won't be practicing gender inequality, cultural inequity, or racial bias, and will be inspiring wiser and more ethical decisions. Now that is the gist of chapter 12, and I know we went over it quickly, but I do want to be respectful of your time, and there are a couple housekeeping things that we need to go over. One being, this is our new book as of next week, the Cotter book, Our Iceberg is Melting. You want to make sure that you have a copy of that book, and we'll be going over next week's reading in the lecture series. The other thing is the mid-course survey, and we did speak about this. This is worth 10 extra credit points, and I would suggest that you complete it. We're looking for honest data to be able to improve the course and make it better for you, the student. With that, that's the end of my lecture and chapter 12, the end of the Bazerman and Bohr book. And I want to say thank you for staying with us. Thank you for getting your assignments in on time. It is much appreciated, and it's really my pleasure to work with you through this process of getting your degree. So God bless, and we'll see you next week.